Welcome to the Little as Much podcast. I'm Cameron.
And this is Morgan.
We are just a young couple desiring to serve God and raise a family in this present world based off Titus 2:12.
We have seen God take the little we have to offer and do much more than we could ever imagine.
Join us as we share personal real-life experiences and what God is teaching us along the way.
We will cover topics of faith, family, and everyday life from a Christian and biblical perspective.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, we're going to be doing things a little bit different. We're going to be talking about relationship red flags with all of the siblings.
Yeah, so we have my sisters back that were in the sister chat with me. So we have Mackenzie and Whitley.
Hey.
And then in addition to that, we also have Mackenzie's husband, Ethan. Say hi, Ethan.
Hello.
All right, so we're going to get started. We are just going to go over the relationship red flags. They're being crazy right now. We're going to go over the relationship red flags, just things that are kind of like deal breakers or something you should be aware of. Are you looking at my notes?
You actually have a red flag.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to be just going over the relationship red flags, things that are kind of deal breakers in a relationship, or things that you should look out for, whether it's in general or things that we've had happen specifically to us that were just red flags. Go ahead, Cameron.
Okay. So the first one I have is if you probably shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't believe the same as you as far as Bible and doctrine.
No.
And if you do get into a relationship with somebody
like
and
they seemed good
like
when
they
you
seem
first
good,
get in.
it seems like they believe the same things you do, and then they start questioning you about your doctrine, you should probably get out of that or try to handle it. If you can't handle it, then just get out of it. Just run. Get out. That's a red flag. Watch out.
If they're going to be questioning what you believe and going against stuff, then that definitely is something I think you want to be aware of.
Yeah.
My first one that I have down is if they can't have fun with you and your family and relax and be yourself and just have fun, then that's something that is probably not going to work. Yeah. They need to be able to be themselves, especially if you are somebody that's close to your family. Mm-hmm. You know, I understand there are some situations in some life, you know, things that happen and someone might not be as close to their family as maybe someone else. But if you're super close with your family and that means a lot to you, then they should be able to get along with your siblings and your mom and dad. Exactly. And not be stiff and serious and like they're only themselves when they're with you, but they can't relax and be themselves around your family and in like social outings and things like that. That is always like a huge problem for me.
Yeah.
Well, red flag for me, I would add on to what Morgan said, but she basically took everything I was going to say on that one. It was just going to be being themselves around your family.
Yeah.
If they are around your family and they don't act the same, or if they act like they would rather be somewhere else than with your family, that's big. Because I know a lot of people always say you don't just marry the person, you marry the family.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at just a long-term relationship, of course, a red flag is if they act like they don't want to be around your family. If they are in it just for you, that is a really big red flag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think one for me is just being overly cocky. Like a gym bro, like overly cocky dude that just thinks like he's better than anybody in the world. That's a big like red flag for me, because if he thinks that, he's not gonna think of you as an equal or any better. Like those guys like put themselves before anybody else.
Right.
And that's a big red flag for me.
Yeah.
One for me is, I got ones, guys. One for me is, like, if you've been away from each other, like, let's say you've gone on a trip or something, and you come back and you were, like, over the top excited to see this person because you just miss them so much, and you'll get together and they are sitting in the chair dazing off and like not paying attention to you and looking on their phones. I got bad news, girls. There's probably somebody else in their life.
Yeah.
And you deserve way better. So
all the attention.
Yeah, like if they act
especially if they've been
like
gone.
you act like, you know,
You should be missed
if
by
you
your
right,
person.
and if you or if you are away and you realize, I haven't really missed them, that's probably a problem.
Yeah.
If you can't live by absent makes the heart grow fonder, then...
And because I'm someone who loves to laugh and is really super energetic, so if I get back from a trip and I'm like, we need to do this and this and this, and they're sitting on a chair, of course, I don't know where else they'd be sitting, and they're sitting and they're just not really into matching your energy and excited.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Then I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really true.
My next one is actually a little funny. But if they are somebody that likes to self-diagnose themselves with medical issues,
they're always trying to find something wrong.
Yeah, if
with
they're
themselves.
always trying to find something wrong with themselves or something wrong with you, you should probably watch out for that one because they might be a little crazy.
Yeah.
They might. Yeah, there's no way to sugarcoat that one. If they self-diagnose themselves or you, they're just not right.
Yes, that is very true. Somebody that's constantly Googling and almost they're doing it for attention, I think. They want something to be wrong, so you baby them or pity them. Somebody that seeks attention and pity in that way. There's probably more going on, and they probably need to focus more on them, on themselves, their mental health, and their relationship with God. Just to be straight up and honest.
Yeah, and you could probably ask them did a doctor tell you that diagnosis? And a lot of times they'll say no, but these are the symptoms I'm having, and this is what Google said. Well, Google's always right.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and something that I had down was if somebody, all they do is compliment you and your physical appearance, and they're just staring at you, and then all they want to do is sit and be googly eyes and just want to be you're so beautiful. I love you, baby. And all this stuff. And that's all that they do. There's probably an issue. You need to be able to have real conversations. You need to be able to, it shouldn't be on the surface. You should be able to be hey, what did you eat for lunch? Or how did work go? Or talk about the real everyday things, because being married now, the real everyday things are what, you're going through that person. It's not all about how lovey you can be with somebody and how you can talk about your feelings and dreams. No, you're living every day together, so you've got to be able to get down and talk about other conversations other than just this, I love you and you look beautiful and you're so handsome and I don't know what I would do without you and all this, and all it is compliments. And there's no actual substance to your conversations.
No.
Well,
that's a big deal.
When they have to only compliment you, it's they're trying to convince themselves for a reason for staying.
Exactly.
Right.
If they can't talk about anything else, it's they're trying to have a reason to stay.
Right. Do you really have anything in common with them?
Yeah, they build a facade in their mind, you've got to be perfect. One time, I had something in my tooth, and you should be able to tell your person, just because you think oh, I don't want to tell them that because that'll break up our perfect picture, and no, tell your person, be comfortable enough to be
bun right there.
One of my sisters had to tell me, and that was not good.
Exactly, yeah. So that's something that's just big for me.
So another red flag for me is when they always compare you to other people, whether it be even just some of their friends or a relationship that they used to be in.
Oh yes.
When they always say, "Well,"
big no.
I mean, they may still say you do this good, they like this about you, but when they are comparing you, saying, "Well, I kind of wish you were like this," or "This person does it this way, why can't you?" To me, that's a big red flag.
Yes.
Because then they aren't. It seems like they aren't liking you for you. They are wanting this picture perfect guy or girl, and they are wanting you to be exactly kind of part of everyone else's lives to make one person, and they aren't accepting you for who you are.
Trying
That
to change
is
you
really
into their
good.
perfect person.
Yes, because I have had that happen to where they'll be like, well, you know that person, you know them, I like that about, and it's yeah, but I'm not that person, so there's probably an issue, and also, why are you paying so much attention to something about someone else that you're then trying to project on me? That's a really good one.
Another one that I had, and I don't want this to be like misinterpreted, but like overly talkative person. Yeah. It's great to be like talkative and be able to like, you know, talk to somebody. But when you're like overly talkative and like they can't just take time to sit and listen to a conversation. They always have to have a comment or joke about something that's made in the conversation.
That's a good one.
Like, that is just such a red flag because it, like, shows an insecurity because they have to always joke. And then, like, just there's sometimes that, like, one thing, like, I loved about my husband when I first met him was, like, he was like calm and like he took time to just listen to my family,
right?
And like just listen. He always didn't have something to come back and say, or joke about.
Like you can be a part of a group and not always say something or try to be the center of attention in that group, or make a sarcastic comment on whatever. You can be like with their family or your friends or at church, and you can like listen to a conversation and they're not trying to like steal the spotlight.
Yes.
I think that's something that's big, and sarcasm is a big one. Sarcasm can hurt. And sarcasm, it can turn to somebody saying they're joking, but they're actually saying something that they're feeling, but they do it in this sarcastic tone. Then they're like, if it hurts your feelings, they're like, I was just joking. Stop taking it so seriously. But then there's a fine line there. So that's good.
Yeah. The second thing for me is if they can't even try to share your interests. Now, I get it. Guys aren't going to be like, isn't that such a beautiful, colorful, bright, and joyful thing? Guys aren't like that. But if you're like, oh my goodness, look how beautiful that is. Doesn't that just make you happy? And they're like, no. Or even like a movie to watch and you're like I am somebody who I still love cartoons. I think you cannot go wrong with a cartoon. And they're like, no, I don't want to watch that. That's like little kids. And you're like, but it makes you laugh, you know? It's like
funny, something funny.
You know, and I'm also like for the girls, like if he is interested in hunting, if he is obsessed with hunting, let the guy be obsessed with hunting. But if he's like, hey, I did this and this and I went out and bought this, like a brand new arrow or bullets, don't be like, yeah, wow, that's not me. No, that you shouldn't be like that. So, and especially if you don't want him to be like that, try to be excited about things he
gracefully show him how not to be.
Guide him.
You can be nice even if you're not obsessed with it like he is. You can be nice.
Because guys can pick up on things like that. You know, if you take the time to be like even though you don't like that, but you take the time to be like interested in it and like listen to him, he'll kind of like take the time to be like, whoa, she actually did that. Maybe I should try that with her.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
And guys, that might be something she really likes. Don't be like, well, that's just silly. No, you shouldn't do that, because if you do that, I'm telling you, you won't stick around long.
If it's part of who they are, then you have to accept that, because you need to be able to love and accept that person in their whole, not just in, I really don't like this about them, but I like this enough to where I can, you know what I mean? No, you need to be able, of course there's going to be things that are going to get on your nerves. No relationship is ever perfect. There are going to be things that you might not absolutely love about something. Maybe they're really into this, and no, it's not your favorite thing, but to respect it. You know what I mean? Just the respect that, they like that. And as long as it's not something that goes against God's word or something that is a deal breaker or something that could be detrimental to your relationship, give a little, take a little.
And then my third one, this is actually my last one, but if they start to blame you for things like their issues that they had even before you met, or blame you for just different things, mostly mentally, but if they start blaming you for so many different things that they were dealing with before you ever met them, that's a big red flag.
Move on.
Get out of there. Because if you weren't the cause of it, don't take the blame for it.
That will be your whole life.
That's really good. That is really good. Right, because like Whitley said, that'll be your whole life of them trying to say
they'll fault. They will always find fault in you, and they'll find fault in your relationship, and they'll just blame.
And I feel like it goes off the pity part too. I feel like people who live in the past just want the pity for their past. And they need to move on. Move on and just start a new life.
God's too good to live in the dreary past.
God has way too much for us.
God gives you a new day every morning.
Yes,
walk on
absolutely. My next one, and I might get some hate for this one, but this is something to me. If there is a mom listening, she'll probably not like me for this, but if he is too much of a mama's boy, there is a fine line. But when you say something and his first words back to you are, well, my mama said, or my mom said, or well, my mom thinks, and it's almost like you can't say anything without him bringing up his mom. And don't get me wrong, you should be able to see how a man respects and treats his mother, and you should be able to see how he is going to down the road respect and treat you. I believe that is true. But there is a fine line when they are too much of a mama's boy, because the Bible says that a man is to leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. If he is having a hard time cleaving, and I understand you might be early in a relationship or you're just dating, and I know that's talking about marriage and everything, but if he is having a hard time leaving and cleaving, and I'm not saying he is going to always respect his mom, you have to honor your parents until the day you die, and you need to have that respect. And his mom and your parents, if they're godly counsel and you're going to them for things and they do have an opinion, of course you need to hear it, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like everything. You try to be like, oh, well, I think that, I like having my house this certain way, like how I decorate, and they're like, well, my mom says that you shouldn't have those two colors together. You know what I mean? Or, it goes into like the petty things of life, and then they're constantly bringing up well, my mom says that if he's too much of a mama's boy, it is going to cause issues in your marriage.
Because there's also, like, for us ladies, there's a comfort in knowing that you're the woman in his life. There's a big comfort in knowing that. So, like, when he comes to you with, like, maybe something he's struggling with, or something he's sad about, or an idea he wants to bounce off of you, or hey, can you help me out with this, or hey, you want to like get together and like have you cook, like even to just cook for them, like there's just comfort in knowing that now you're the lady.
Because the wife is supposed to be the helpmeet, not the mom.
Well, the bad thing is a lot of guys, when they get into something like that, it's like they're not mature enough to move on. Because there's going to get to that point where every guy needs to move on. If they aren't ready to leave their mom and cling to their wife, there's going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
So, I started actually with not very many red flags, but I'm getting more as we're talking. One is just staying calm and not looking for drama. Because I know a lot of times... And I'm not saying a lot, they're going to have an input on some things, but there's a difference when they just have an input or they are trying to look for something to bring up drama. It's like every situation that happens, they want it to be worse and worse and worse. And every time they bring something up, it's like they're just wanting to have something to talk about. If they just don't leave something alone and they keep going on and on and on about they need to just let that alone and just move on.
That's a good one.
My last one is kind of similar to like a couple that some of us have said, but it happened to me personally, so I wanted to be sure that I could get it across in this way. But like the whole back to make sure that like you're a listener. Like if they they can't like listen, because like what happened to me was I had passions. When I was in a relationship, I was 18 years old. I was like ready to start my career, ready to do this. I had horses. I was in EMT class. I was working at a farm and supply store the year later. So like I was like had a lot of things going on in my life, and the person I was with never. Every time I try to talk about my passions, because like my passions was horses and EMS. I love those two things. And I would want to talk about it. I would want to talk about what a shift that I was on, or, what I did riding, how my horse was. And like straight up would tell me that he was not interested and did not want to talk about that. And that is a big red flag. Just take the time to listen, and like a lot of like Whitley said, take that time to listen, but also like share, like even if it's not your thing, don't like not talk about it. like
Act
with
excited.
that person. Act excited, even if you're not into it. Just
Well, if it's not your thing, if you really love them, it'll become your thing.
Right.
You start sharing the same interests and sharing the same things that they like. It's not always going to be about, well, I just have to put up with it because they like it.
And don't
We'll
be
start
like
liking
close-minded to things. Like I felt like it was just so much like, well, I do this, this, and this, and like I can't even think about like liking horses or liking the EMS world. Right. You know what I mean? And like, don't be a closed-minded person. A closed-minded person like that, who's like a little stuck up and closed-minded towards things, is a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last one kind of goes into kind of like my first one, just because this is something really big for me. But if you're the one putting all the effort into the relationship, it's probably not going to work out. He's probably not interested in you. And I think like, yeah, that's really just the big thing for me. Yeah, and kind of like what Kenzie said, mine's like kind of the opposite about the talking so much. That can be a big problem, but not talking. Girl, if you were like talking to him and he's not talking back, I get people are shy. For all my shy people out there, you can do it. But if he's like being quiet and not talking to you and talking maybe to your family and not talking to you when you're around, and you're like, you know, love my family, that's great and all that kind of stuff, but the only reason you're here is because me, you know?
You're trying to build a relationship with that person, and yes, they need to build a relationship with your family, but you've got to get to know each other first.
Right, and then like when y'all get time, you know, with each other, with someone else in the room, of course, a chaperone, and they still don't really talk to you, there's a big issue there. Yeah. For me, I feel like you should be able to sit and talk maybe for hours, you know, about all kinds of stuff. But if you're not putting effort into the relationship, it's probably not going to work.
I was told one time that he needed me time. And it was just like that. And he said, me time isn't just like alone. It can be in a conversation where you just slip away into the back of your head and you just take time for yourself and your own thoughts.
What's in the back of the head there?
Oh my God.
It was crazy. That is a red flag.
Yeah.
That is not good.
Yeah, and personally, I cannot be the only one putting effort into it, because it just makes me sad, honestly. It makes me truly sad, because I'm like, I'm so excited about this and you're not excited about this, so I'm just going to end it, because I need somebody who is going to laugh with me. You know, my big thing, I laugh a lot, guys. Probably sometimes when I shouldn't. It's not good. You know, I just get nervous and laugh sometimes, but like, my biggest thing is I want somebody to laugh with me about everything and anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last one kind of plays into that is they need to understand the deeper side of you.
Yes.
Everybody has a surface level who they are.
Yeah.
And then also everybody has a sub layer of who they are. And I think a deeper side to them where it might come from hurt or things in your past, or it might just be something that God has put inside of you that is just on the deeper side of how you think and feel about life and, you know, different passions that you have. They've got to be able to understand that deeper side of you. Yeah. If you're someone that likes to have, you know, deeper conversations and wants to, you know, be able to talk about the Bible or wants to be able to talk about the deeper things of life and be able to have these conversations, and they're just constantly want to stay on surface level with you and they're not wanting to get into the deeper parts of who you are, then that could be an issue.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Those are just, I'm sure we could probably do a part 2 to this if we all started thinking about it. But
I started thinking of few more, but
yeah, we'll save them.
We'll save them.
Yeah, we'll have to do a part 2 to this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so thank you guys for doing this with us.
Of course. And just a reminder, you know, my sisters are taken, but I'm still single. So if you know anyone who loves the Lord,
the advertisement is out there.
Comment down below.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Thank y'all for listening. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and rate us. We are also uploading these podcasts to YouTube. Our channel will be linked below.
If you don't have time for an entire podcast episode, check out the 60-second Bible Food for Thought on our YouTube page. If you are listening on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Feel free to email us at littleismuchmerch@gmail.com if you have any specific topics you would like for us to cover in a future episode, or if you would like to just say hi.
On some of our podcast episodes, we leave a Q&A on Spotify. We'd love it if you would participate.
We appreciate you listening.
And remember, little is much when God is in it.